How's it going, everyone? Well, isn't this some disastrous news? Well, disastrous is probably a little bit of a stretch, but Rocksteady is a beloved studio to many. I think a lot of you guys love the Batman Arkham games. Batman Arkham Asylum, I was shocked back in 2009 how good that game was. And I remember leading into the release of that game, I was just like, alright, another meme superhero game that'll be a solid 5.5 out of 10, and we'll move on with our lives after that. Then Batman Arkham Asylum came out. I was very much a youngster back then, but I remember playing that game and just being blown away, and I've completed Arkham Asylum several times at this point. Played through Arkham City, that is my favorite of the three Arkham games, and then we had Batman Arkham Knight, which was also a very good game. I know some people had their issues with the Batmobile sections, but Arkham Knight turned out to be a great game as well. I know what you guys might be saying, hey, there's Arkham Origins as well. I get it. Done by WB Montreal. That was a pretty good game as well. Not as good as the main three titles that were done by Rocksteady. Rocksteady's been MIA for quite a while. Arkham Asylum came out in 2009, but Arkham Knight came out all the way back in 2015 as well. And we haven't seen a new game from them since Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight got a bit of DLC, but we do know that they're working on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. You know, Suicide Squad, not the IP I was really hoping Rocksteady would take under their umbrella, but it's still a big budget IP, and at the end of the day, I was excited for the game based on the fact it's Rocksteady. You have a quality team there that's been making some tremendous games, and now they're doing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Hey, I'm just happy to see them back with a new title, scheduled to be released sometime in 2023. Long time coming, saw a couple delays, but the game should be coming this year. However, now we have some disaster on the horizon, at least perceived disaster. As noted on Game Informer, the image which you can view in the tweet below comes from 4chan forum, as reported by Video Games Chronicle, which is also verified with sources that the image is in fact real. The image appears to be Suicide Squad's start menu and features standard things like game mode selection, chapter select, difficulty, and matchmaking. All that is fine. It also features some menus to page through at the top, including a Battle Pass one. Under those top bar menus are what appears to be various currencies as well. Now here's where things get interesting. According to VGC sources, a Battle Pass is in fact planned for Suicide Squad, but it will be focused on cosmetic things like skins. Look, Suicide Squad is a next generation title, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. I am led to believe that this will either be a $60 game, or more likely, given that it's a Warner Brothers title, it will be a $70 game. A $70 game with live service elements, or a $60 game with live service elements, whatever have you, is just so disappointing, and I get it. This probably isn't a Rocksteady decision. Very rarely do development studios actually have a lot of say in decision making when it comes to things like battle passes and in-game microtransactions and things of that nature. That is coming from higher ups. That is coming from the publisher side of things, where they are looking to generate as much revenue as possible from a game. The developers are most likely just worried about creating the most compelling and the best game possible. However, this is just giving me serious PTSD from everything that Ubisoft has been doing with taking some of their IP, some of their most notable studios, and creating these games that are just riddled with microtransactions, that just have so many games as a service element. And sure, that can work to an extent. However, you're just going in and in on it, and you're trying to make as much money as possible. And you guys have been seeing the reports with Ubisoft. So many games are being canceled, and sure, Assassin's Creed is still major, but what about all those other IPs? I do not want to see it go down a route, especially because this is Rocksteady's foray into something entirely new. It's still Suicide Squad, it's still DC. However, they had a proven track record with the Batman titles. Now they're starting a new chapter of Rocksteady's history. I don't think it's too far of a stretch to say anything like that, and this is a big cause for concern. VGC also noted the publication says it understands the currencies in the image to be XP used to power up and customize the skill trees of each antihero, effectively making them unique to the player. You don't start off rebuffed and weak, VGC's sources told it. You just start off great and can get ridiculous like Arkham Knight's Batman. Arkham Knight developer Rocksteady at this point hasn't revealed much of Suicide Squad, but we are led to believe that the game is scheduled for release sometime in 2023. I saw a May release window floating around for a little while, May 26th in fact, and that is apparently the scheduled release date. Of course, the game is centered around Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and King Shark, so very much notable characters. and characters that, if you play the Batman Arkham titles, you're probably going to gravitate towards a game like this. But yeah, this is definitely a cause for concern, especially because it's Rocksteady. Rocksteady has just done such a great job with what they did with Batman Arkham, and it's been such a long time coming for their next title. Again, 8 years. It has been 8 years since the release of Arkham Knight, and Arkham Knight was scheduled for a release in the fall of 2014, then it ultimately got delayed into June of 2015, if my timeline is correct with that. But this is a game that is obviously going to have a lot of buzz, obviously going to have a lot of anticipation, but you look at social media right now, you look at Twitter, you look at everything else, Reddit, what have you, I'm sure there's going to be comments on this video where people are, I don't think that's going to push people away from at least being interested in the game. I do think that's going to make people incredibly skeptical. I think that's going to make a lot of people, I think that's going to harbor a lot of pessimism in people, just because that's what we're led to do in gaming these days. We've seen this song and dance so many times before, and at some point with this games as a service thing, you want to make as much money as possible, and you try to push that line a little bit more and a little bit more, and then at some point, all hell just breaks loose, and you realize that ultimately, maybe it would have been better if you just stuck to the original formula, sold the game at $70, sell a bunch of copies of the game, satisfy consumers, maybe release some story-based DLC here and there, and DLC that people are going to gravitate towards, but battle passes, things of that nature right out the gate. Again, we're going to ultimately have to wait and see how this is going to be implemented in the entirety of the game, but I can understand why people would hear news like this and immediately be like, oh no, not another one going down this route where a game is going to be hampered by things like that. I've done my song and dance about Assassin's Creed, how it was for a long time one of my most favorite franchises in gaming, how every year I was looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed, and it was a game that every year I could guarantee, not necessarily being my favorite game of the year, but a game that I could always enjoy. And ever since Origins, thought the games have been fine, but it's just not for me anymore, and, you know, that's a whole different song and dance, and I think a lot of people agree with me. A lot of people do disagree with me and tell me that, hey, Assassin's Creed is better than ever, and look at how much content it has, and look at how much you can do, etc., etc., but for me, it doesn't click with me anymore. But I'm sure Ubisoft, you know, in the case of Ubisoft, there's a lot of things you can criticize them for. I'm sure they're making money hand over fist with Assassin's Creed still. It's just not my cup of tea, but as far as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, it's a game that I'm still going to be following really closely. It's just, I can definitely understand why others would be skeptical, and I am now incredibly skeptical. You guys know me. I am inherently more pessimistic when it comes to video games in general. I've tried to kind of push that back a little bit, try to, you know, move forward with a little bit of optimism, but I always think, hey, be as pessimistic as possible, and if things turn out well, you're pleasantly surprised, and if you remain pessimistic, if things end up as a complete train wreck, hey, you were expecting a train wreck anyway. That might not be the best way to think about things, but that's how I've been kind of approaching things for a long time now. But that'll do it for me. Definitely interested to hear what you guys think. Sound off in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.